We are all here at Unity Center of Pflugerville. Wonderful to see you all. And yes, believe it or not, I'm your guest speaker. Goodness. Okay. So this is, the topic is vision, and it is a round table. So we are designed to go ahead and bring up things to talk about and your own experiences. So we'll just jump right into it. So when it became my turn to speak, I was like 7 okay, Dad, what are we going to talk about? And so a couple of days went by, and I'm starting to get anxious. And then I sit down at the writing table, and all of a sudden, vision comes up. And I go, all right, now when you get something from the divine, it's kind of right. It is truly kind of right. If somebody else sits there and goes, well, what about this? What? Yeah. And what about this? Yeah, that sounds great. But when the divine says something, what? You bet. And then you sit down and things start coming. When you try to forcing something, you kind of know you're not on the right foot. Okay, so when I was growing up, my dad had a vision of himself that before he was 30, he was going to be a millionaire. That's pretty lofty. And that's back when a million was a lot more than it is today. But, and now I don't know where the family fit in with all this, but, that's where he was going. So, yeah, looks like hey, did we get to ride that brain suit? Well, anyway, so, but as offspring of his, my brother, my sister, and myself, if you were to ask any of us, none of us had a vision like that. And so it was kind of, wonder where that went. So whether you do or whether you didn't have or whether you didn't have a vision of where you wanted to be, it never really mattered. A vision for your life is the first stage, right? Then after that, your goals help stick you to the vision. Well, we've all been coached through the years of having goals. If you're going to be successful, state a goal and then hit the goal and then go to the next one and so on and so forth. So it was like, that all didn't fit a wayward son like myself. No, I was kind of like, hey, let's roll with it. Shoot from the hip, do the best you can. Had the very calm. And I've lived my life like that. So, the only vision I had for myself was I wanted to be, I guess you could say I wanted to be a professional. I didn't want to be taken as a joke. And I didn't need the world to stop when I was going to say something. I don't need to be, what does that call it? The Nate Crowther? I just wasn't that kind of person. And I didn't need to be in the limelight. That's not who I am. But, so, somewhere along the line, to be the professional, I just thought I had to be good at whatever I was trying to do. And I thought as I let it go, then I was going to get either stepped on or appreciated, one way or the other. So, as a person that has grown up with the just let it roll kind of thing, I became comfortable with it. And I also became comfortable with starting to be good with how I was treating life and how I was moving in a positive direction with life. So when you get to certain stages, things change a little bit. It's kind of like your mental way of doing things or your vision of things change. Okay, so in my assessment of how things were going for me was, I'm okay. I'm okay with what I've done. I'm okay with how everything is kind of unfolded. And boy, I better be, because we're just as similar lives are color. So we have our vibrant, and our vibrant is our school years. We're by the colors. Hey, look at me, kind of thing. And so we have that, and then we have our colors time, and that is our parenting years. And then we have our silver color, and that is silver. And then we have the golden years. The golden years. Okay, we're going to get back to that. Okay, so let's see here. But somewhere in the color years. So if we were, and I think I go back to that as routines. How do we handle ourselves in our routines, our daily routines? And in our vibrant colors, we have the alarm, we have school, we have homework, and then we had play. I wasn't really good at this one, so I had my best. And I love, yeah. And then we have our colors time. The colors in our daily routines, and just figure our routines are a way of handling what we would consider. Some people would consider chaos. Some people would consider the menagerie. So, within, I said, in the colors mode, it's more of the chaos, because we get into the alarm, the family, the work, the domestic duties, and then crash and burn at the end of the day. And then repeat again and again and again. And somewhere along the lines, if we're lucky, we get to church. Yeah. Okay, then we get into the silver. We have, these are the sometimes time. So in our silver, we have, sometimes we have on, sometimes we have family, sometimes we have work, sometimes we have domestic duties, and sometimes we have knacks. Yep. And if we're lucky, it repeats. And then the church becomes the spirit within us. This is a part of that change that was talked about within all of our different ways of going through. These are our changes. No longer is it church. We move into holy ground, and this is really cool. And we're at the time, these are our silver years, where we're at the time where we can appreciate it. Because a lot of times in our colors, and especially in our vibrant times, it doesn't mean that much. It doesn't comprehend that well. But it does later. And then there's our golden years, which I can't write about because I've never been. So that one comes later. So where's our spiritual life and our everyday routine on our vision? Well, if we don't have a vision, then what do we got? We've got, what if we had a daily vision? This is where, to me, the I ams really come into effect. And Reverend Sharon talked about the I ams. Leslie, right? One of the greatest things, and I'm going to jump to him a little bit here, but one of the greatest things for me is I am the true believer in the abs. If you spend your first handful of minutes saying, I am the person you want to be, and however you stay, I am going to have a great day. And you sit there and tell the mirror this, because the mirror's looking right back at you. Tell the nerves, I'm going to have a great day. And stay till you mean it. It sends goosebumps down. And boy, it stays with you a long time during the morning, possibly even into the afternoon. I am going to have a great day. I am going to be a loving and caring person. I am going to be respectful of others. Those are the big unknowns for me. And so, yes, it trains my mind to help keep me on track, because within all of the stuff we do every single day, it's easy to float out of the I am and wind up out here on the periphery of it, and you're dealing with everybody else's stuff. So our training, the way that we look at it, to me, really helps me stay grounded and helps me to understand. So the other thing for me is meditation. And I said it best right here. I had to write this down, okay? I am in a better frame of mind when I meditate. I see further in life than just my routine. And that is, to me, it really does keep me a grounded person so that I don't get caught up in all of the other stuff that kind of floats around. So the next thing for me is being appreciative. I love to say thank you. That's a wonderful thing to me. And what's the magic word? Please. Okay? Well, the other magic word is thank you. You know, that goes right along with please. So if you get what you want, say thank you. You know, I let people in on the road all the time, you know, I'm a let them in. And I don't even get so much as a wave or, you know, or a glink of the lights or anything. You might get something else. Yeah, you might pay for one. But when I went on a drive for my grandfather, he said, anybody who shows you some courtesy, no, give them away. Say thank you. That is not top today. That's too bad. But anyway, maybe once I get out on that stage, I don't need to see a wave. You know, and I'm kind of almost there, like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. When meditation and appreciation is a part of my routine, my spiritual life is on target, and that to me is an important thing. That my spiritual life stays on first. And of course, starting with the I ams is one of the first things that helps me. Oh, yeah. Hey. Yeah, I can move that. Okay. I'm in charge over here, so I'm going to make things around me. Yeah. Being a person that never had this great vision for myself or seeing huge, lofty visions or goals or whatever for myself, you know, what would I do these days? You know, I mean, right now I spent the first half of my life running and dumbing, having a great time, doing the best I can, and treating life the best that I could. At least I told myself it. So now, the vision for these days is like, what What kind of vision do I have for myself? I don't know what kind of vision I have for myself. You know, I don't see that the lofty visions for me was something that I really needed to pay a whole lot of attention to, but the real something that comes to mind at this stage, and that would be maybe for some of us legacy. I don't know, it's something to aspire to, and ponder. Contrary to popular belief, you don't have to be rich to have a legacy. All you need is one thing: free will. And we were all one with free will. So you could move in any direction you want, whatever passions you have for your legacy. As long as it doesn't hurt them. I heard my mom say, as long as it doesn't hurt them. Okay, Mom, I got it. Okay, so probably in the vision for myself as I move forward, being a Virgo, one of those people that just has to have things just so. Maybe part of the vision for me would be I wouldn't be so narrow-minded. It would have to be just so. Maybe I'm mellow. I wouldn't put so much pressure on myself. So even as a person that didn't have all those lofty deals and I didn't set all the goals in the world, I still had an expectation for myself. And it had to do with running and gunning and working hard. So I had to be professional. And it was a wonderful thing. And then at the same time, it takes some things a little bit too far to an edge. Look, not putting so much pressure on yourself, somewhere along the line you can give yourself a break. And if you give yourself a break, you give the world a break. So true. And the next thing that would be for me would be there will be joy. There will be joy from this point forward. For my vision of myself, there will be joy. And there will be more compassion. I can see where there's a whole lot more compassion in me that still has to be given out. I got a lot of it, but I've been real stingy about how I gave it out. Well, I'm going to be stingy anymore. I just want to give it all. I want to give it all away. So, and I'm not going to die to it. So, it's just give it all out. And then there will be more God in my life. So, as before, sometimes when we get caught up in our ways of our vision, we have probably more of the ego involved than we have of God. And so, for me, just for me, there will be more God. I am a kinder, a gentler person with a broader view and more peace in my life. I will have joy, compassion, and God in my life. That is my affirmation. And so, I wonder, in our view of where we are, how do you feel you've lived your last life? Last life. I don't mean your last life. I mean, your life so far. How do you feel you've done? It's kind of like a little bit of a reflection on it. And a few years back, I was at the writing table and I was really sitting there going, okay, well, you're middle-aged now. How do you think you've done? And I just started, oh my, what, what do you write about that? How do you think you've done? And so I read some things, and then I got to thinking that, I've had a colorful life. It's been really colorful. It's been, it's been life. And so I've had some wonderful times, and then I had some not so wonderful times. But one thing I've learned over the last so many years was if I couldn't reflect on some of the stuff that wasn't so wonderful, and I'm not my tragedy. I'm not talking about the stuff you have absolutely no control of, but the stuff that we have that we react to. And so I had to be able to sit back and laugh at some of the stuff I'd done. I mean, my little ass out. She didn't laugh in the certain height that she laughed out of mouth. But I mean, I had to get to the point where I could laugh at. So, and I know God laughed out, because God's like sitting there going, Randy, you can do better. And then I can see God laugh out. So I thought, I can be there. I can laugh at myself. And I have to be able to laugh at myself in order to move forward, go from more to path. For me. Yeah. And then it kind of helps you with some of the other stuff that you don't have to take so heavily. And we can just be a little bit milder on, being a little bit milder on ourselves mean for a whole lot milder on life in general. So, so in whatever vision we had, who has no vision for what you wanted to do? Go ahead. What do you want to share? Nothing.
I don't know. I think my vision for except I grew up as a dyslexic and I struggled for school, so my vision was to get bachelor's degree, and that was one of my visions. And I noticed when I accomplished it, I felt empty. It's like now what? And so it's like I have to grow along and continue to find vision in life.
So the vision helps you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
Here we go. I'm sure you've all heard many times me say, I'm going to Graceland, the home of Elvis Presley. And it was supposed to be this November, but my friend who's going with me fractured her femur and she's got a blood clot. So we can't go right now. So we're hoping to go next April. So that's keeping me going every day. I'm going to Graceland, I'm going to Graceland, I'm going to Graceland. It may be next November, 2026. But that's my vision. And I know after it's done, to have another vision.
Who else? Okay. I think Paul Simon is going to meet you over. That wasn't good.
We were living in Germany, and it was time for us to come back to the States. And the one thing I really wanted to do was see the castle in Neuschwanstein, the one that Walt Disney fashioned.
Castle.
Yeah, so it's Cinderella's castle. And so we're driving down the road or following the map, and the castle's supposed to be there. And it's rainy and funky like it usually is in Germany. And we just keep going. We're right at the next town. You go, where is it? It's got to be there. So we come back from a park in this big parking area that looks like a little touristy area. And we pack a picnic lunch because we have 4 kids and we can't afford a whole lot. So we're eating lunch in a car, and all of a sudden, the clouds lift, and we're looking right at the castle. It's rare. I wasn't in people all around. So we ride a little horse carriage up to the castle. We tour the castle. We come back down. We get in the car. And as we're driving out of the valley, I look in the rearview mirror, and the clouds had descended back over the castle. It's like God said, "Want to see it? Oh, here it is. You do? Okay."
Cool. Anybody else? Sit.
I don't say it's a vision. I had a daydream and I didn't really realize that until one day. And what it was is one day I'm sitting in the sink here in Texas and I'm washing dishes and I'm looking out the window and my son was across the street playing with his friends. And then I realized that for years I'd had that daydream that one day I'd be looking out my window, my son would be safe, playing with his friends, and then would have someone wonderful that cared about me and loved me, my husband. And I realized right then and there, I actually had it. Though I didn't even know it was a goal or a vision, I had that day to me. That was deep inside me.
Really cool. Thanks. Up. Where are you going? Don't you have one to share for with us?
So it's interesting because I'm a lot like you, right? I'm a roll with the blood kind of person, and graduating high school and getting into college, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I did an internship with an accounting firm because I thought I wanted to be an accountant, and that took care of that real quick. I was really grateful for that opportunity my senior year of high school because I we want to do it, and so I really kind of had just been very fortunate in my career as being an assistant. I love what I do. I love serving people. Every day I get out of bed, and I don't know, going to work, it's going to be something different. And that really fills me. It's like, how can I show up? But I'm at a point in time when it was really interesting because I never will have thought of the future until I hit 60. And then it was like, oh, here I am. I need to start thinking about like what, because then it was like a light bulb went off. Like I don't want to work the rest of my life. At some point, if you asked me if I would have kept going, doing what I'm doing, I said, oh, I love it. I'll do it forever. And then when I hit 60, it's like, I know, I don't want that every day. I want to be able to own a schedule. So like I'm at a point in time in my life now where Greg and I are having these really serious conversations about like, when do we want to retire? When do we want to stop working, and what do we want to do? And so the gift to be able to be at that point in my life where the choices that we've made and staying in the same house, and having some money saved and thinking about like, and I know that I'll want to continue to probably work part-time because I want to contribute to society in that way. But, we want to travel and we want to do some things. So thinking about now, like, well, we're at that point of like, what is our vision going forward? And really feeling like probably any time in my life where I kind of let life run me, I'm at a point in my life where like, I really want to consciously choose how I show up and choose what I'm getting to do. And just about you to be in a place where I could do it.
It's a wonderful place. MJ, you were? Did Darren come up? Okay.
Okay. Well, so I was thrust into the music position here. No. So Robert asked me what my vision was for the music program. And so I said, well, all I'm trying to do is to grow the church. And so I'm basically living in the vision now and not remembering when it ends.
Well, it's just what you had in mind, Darren.
It is, yes. So, and Sharon's asked me, let's go to the next level, whatever that is.
Wow.
So if anyone has any ideas, let me know.
Good. Well, I mean, and so it goes, and this isn't, this isn't great philosophy here. This is just something to ponder on. What might we do? mean, we're almost at a stage right now where we've done society's thing. You know, we've been a productive element to life, and now it's just something to think about. You know, my goal, part of the vision that I have for the rest of my life is to build our church. And that's something that's going to be a part of what I expect to do. And if you want to call it legacy, great. If you want to just say it's a goal, great. Whatever you get lucky, call it. That's part of the vision I got. And then the rest of it is, retire with the horses and in the mountains and enjoy doing things for others. That's what I have for my long-term vision.
Hey, Randy, I think legacy for all of us growing this church, look at who we are because we've been here for so many years. I bet what a great vision for all of us to have. I mean, I never thought of it as a legacy.
Well, I guess we could call it that. I mean, if we really build something that helps others, to grow, and I mean spiritual growth, that's about it. It's the best kind of growing I can think of, dude. I don't want to call them growing old a great thing to be looking at, but growing spiritually and having a better union with my soul, that's as good as I could ask it could be. So I don't know what else to say except for namaste.